We spend countless hours of our lives dreaming of a place that only exists in stories. Destinations that can remove us from the world as we know it, and can change how we define a life worth living. I can tell you a lot about my life, about my past and the events that made me who I am. The places I'll see before I die, the people I'll meet, a place that doesn't fit into words. This is our adventure.
Stick out fruit in mason jars.
I moved to Alaska with little in mind for my future. To be honest, I hadn't planned on staying at all.
Blood on my fingers, can't show it hurt, so we gon' see the next song that comes.
The people that call Alaska home reflect certain qualities that I've never seen in any place else. Mainly an immeasurable connection with nature and the species that fill it. Here in Juneau, nobody's quite sure where the town ends and the wilderness begins. We just live within it. The Chilkat Mountains and fields of ice have only left a small patch of coastline for human life to develop. And when small town living gets old, just point north and go find somewhere new.
For working ain't done till it's set in song. Whoa, look out, boys, you're about to learn.
When I'm asked what Alaska means to me, I remember the overwhelming sense of peace. I remember the sun that rides high in the sky, and a beautiful German girl that sings folk songs once a week at the Alaskan.
When I look back to when I first arrived in Alaska, I think about running. You tend to meet lots of people who are running from something here. They're running from people, places, and memory. Sometimes they're running from the law and society. Other times it's cities and busy streets. They're almost always leaving an old life behind. I was running from grief. I lost my first love to suicide. His name was Dan, and he was my best friend. We met on the first day of college. The day we met and every day after, we talked about Alaska. It was something we shared. In the days after I learned that Dan was gone, I made a decision to go north. I went to go join the rest of the people like me. I sat for many days on my back porch in Alaska. I stared at the top of Mount Juneau for so long, thinking I'd see Dan's silhouette up there. It occurred to me one day that I should stop staring and start looking. When I came to Alaska, I was looking for anything that would make me feel again. It didn't happen overnight. I spent a lot of time wandering, not really knowing what I was doing or where I was headed. But Alaska had many funny ways of coercing me out of my cave. The people I met had a lot to do with it. So did kayaking, music, long hours of daylight and hard work, and the ocean. I got my nickname Whalebait along the way. That's another story. But it was an exhilarating one, and I think that's exactly what I needed.
I enlisted into the Army on my 18th birthday. I still don't know what compelled me to join as a soldier during a time of war, but it had very little to do with my love for the flag. Whatever the reason I went to war as a blank slate, a young, naive teenager with open-ended values and uncertain principles. In combat, every second that passes is a test of right and wrong, and the eventual realization that the key to survival lies within your ability to reprioritize the value of human life. Despite the time that's passed, some days the memories filling my head are nothing more than recreations of the moments that changed my life. Some days, they're the moments that change the lives of others. Moments that question human logic. These are memories that need more definition before they can stop replaying in my head. Some days, the memories that fill my head are nothing more than recreations of what I had become. A complete stranger to the people I love. When I stepped into this world, everything changed. Any hate that filled my life was absent, and there was a deeper connection to the world around me. My father introduced me to the Alaskan wilderness 10 years earlier, an experience in my life which I could never truly move past and forget. I grew up on his tall tales of 1,200-pound grizzlies and Arctic wolves, all of whom he described as good and personal friends. My fairy tales as a child were filled with towering mountain passes, Arctic storms, and vivid characters of Alaskan life. Knowing now how each fairy tale gets its beginning, it's easier for me to recognize how this place is shaping my journey through life. After years of struggling with regret, I happened upon the one place that could offer me a glimpse into who I once was. But I'm still reminded of the ones who never got to see life from this perspective, and never will. I don't know what suicide feels like, but I know the feeling of emptiness that causes the break. And if I could have two last words with my friends missing from this world, I would simply say, go north.
Luke and I crossed paths at an unexpected time, coming from very different journeys. But the shared experience of coming to Alaska drove us to plan a kayak trip through the Inside Passage, from Haines to Ketchikan. So we got a couple of beat-up boats that were floating long before we were born, and set out for the summer. Our journey begins with a ferry ride, traveling north up Lynn Canal to the community of Haines. The mountains grow in size as you travel up this fjord. It's the place where the southeast rainforests and the interior converge.
Sing, sing, won't you sing for me? Beast in your belly.
Our journey through the Inside Passage was thoroughly planned, or so we thought. I was the keeper of our maps, the route planner, and camp cook. Luke was keeper of camp and gear, and security, of course. Lynn Canal would bring us from Haines to Juneau, a sort of test run to make sure our boats didn't have holes. We found out that mine had plenty.
Yeah, we're not going out until it calms down.
Grass grows tall over things that you wish that you forget.
So we've decided to have some coffee instead of fighting this beastly water right now.
Mama's been slaving in the kitchen all day.
From there on out, we were to follow Stevens Passage. A notable stop along the way would be Admiralty Island, iconic home of brown bears. Shortly after turning the corner into Frederick Sound, we would land in the town of Petersburg and hopefully grab a shower and a few beers.
Just doing some mapping, measuring if we got anywhere today or in the past 3 days.
I felt like I was just waiting around in my life for something to happen. But waiting it out wasn't cutting it. Sitting out because of the rain isn't an option in Southeast Alaska if you want to do anything. You just put on a raincoat and some tufts, and you go do it.
Boy walks half down on the broken track, Father said, my son, come on back. So much trouble I must leave behind.
Eldred Rock, day 3. We are sitting here at the top checking out these gorgeous mountains. And we have this pretty little lighthouse behind us. We almost got attacked by what we thought were roughly 50 sea lions. Luckily they weren't, were they, Luke?
Nope, just cute little seals.
Cute little furry seals.
Luke and I both agree that Lynn Canal was our favorite leg of the journey. The sights were spectacular, of course. But more importantly, we were at the northern end of the Inside Passage. We were ready to put an end to the waiting and to just go paddle.
We were sitting here on the water and hearing these big, like, dynamite blasts off of these cliffs. And turns out there's some whales breaching repeatedly.
Did you hear it?
The day I first paddled with humpbacks was a defining moment in my life. Since then, it's been my addiction. They don't call me whalebait for nothing. We were fortunate enough to paddle with many whales along our journey.
Oh my God, they're literally all around us right now.
But one day in particular, they took our breath away. Dozens of humpbacks dove and played around us for hours. That night on the beach, we couldn't sleep. The whales were simply too loud.
City's got a little choppy tonight, so we had to beach on these rocks here, which wasn't easy, a little bit technical, but we made it, right, Chelsea?
This cliff is the only spot we could pull over in this messy washing machine water. Luke is stoked about it, however, so you can blame him.
Good news is, this isn't really prime territory for bears on these rocky cliffs, so I might sleep well, pretty well tonight. Except for this right here is a little unnerving, but at least it's a quick death. Without civilization 100 miles in either direction, there's the occasional feeling of vulnerability. A feeling that not too many people truly understand. Most days, we considered reaching desolate shores the focus of our paddling. Other days, being this far removed from civilization can spark a small moment of panic. The passage is more often than not inaccessible to emergency transports during storm surges and dense fog. all of which have claimed the lives of nearly 1,000 other travelers here in the past century. But that's not to say we didn't take a few small liberties with approaching storms.
Wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart. Wake up to the sound of your fleeting
Every avenue of the archipelago has a token form of weather. The glacial inlets can drop ambient temperatures by 30 degrees in 30 minutes, and swells during canal crossings can be immeasurable one moment and 7 feet the next.
She went out to the haze in the morning grace.
Sunlight within Southeast has always been nature's rarest show. With an average of only 22 days of sunshine per year, we were beginning to wonder how many we had left. Not to say we wouldn't miss it, but it's worth noting that we never made it very far when the sun was shining.
And my love is yours, but your love's not mine. So I'll go, but we know I'll see you down the line.
Trying to cover up my bad sunburn here. I'm kind of retarded.
So why is it that gliding along in a sea kayak is the #1 thing that brings me peace? Well, grief left me feeling like I was spiraling out of control. It's a nasty feeling, and I didn't know how I was going to learn to live with it. When you're out on the water sea kayaking, you have to learn to live with a lack of control. You learn to navigate as best as you can by listening very carefully to everything around you. But other than the movements you make with your body, it's not in your control, and you just have to be. Somehow, this doesn't scare me.
Wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart. Wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart. When you go, what you leave is a work of art. On my chest, on my heart. And my love is yours, but your love's not mine. So I'll go, but we know I'll see you down the line. And we'll hate what we've lost, but we'll love what we find. And oh, I'm feeling fine. We made it to the coastline.
So we just hopped off the beach over here, and it doesn't really look like this place is inhabited too much, and we get in the tree line here, and we were just cutting over to get some fish from the creek, and we noticed this brown cabin in the woods here, so you guys are going to be spotting it for the first time, just like us. We haven't been up to it yet. Keep up, you! You can tell all the new growth around it. There's a kettle up there.
There's a bed frame. There's a stove.
A big
table.
stove.
Let's go inside.
Oh yeah, let's go. Did you hear that?
Oh no.
Something out there?
What is it?
Moving in.
This
Hey, bear.
is so scary. There he is. He's a cute little guy. He's checking us out though. He's definitely checking us out. We were just admiring all the bear tracks.
I'm just checking the area out, buddy. Alright.
He's not mad at us.
Alright. He's a tiny one. Thank you, bud.
And he ran away.
No. He doesn't like us. Or he saw a bigger bear.
The archipelago offers one of the world's most diverse ecosystems. Microbial research within the area has changed how we understand the history of Earth, a history that affects the world still today. But it's the larger organisms that create Alaska's image of wilderness. Animals that have claimed dominance over this land before humans arrived nearly 10,000 years ago. Animals that are feared due to their inconceivable size and history of violence. The Alexander Archipelago wolf is one of the most recent additions to the gray wolf's long lineage of hybrids. Chelsea and I knew why these wolves were in camp. We had dipped into their cache of clams the previous afternoon after we followed what we assumed were bear tracks. What we didn't understand is the warmth that these two young wolves displayed while their pack took shelter in the tree line nearby. I mark these 30 short minutes as one of the most influential events of my life. In a place where predators don't tolerate the encroachment of humans, these remarkable animals made it strikingly obvious that they recognized something familiar within the both of us. These are the recorded moments that resonated a deeper understanding of our place in the world as humans. A pedestal that is much lower than we'd like to believe.
Despite our short time on the water, we had to hop out. Looks a little calm right here, but getting out there, not so pretty.
No. But we finished Stevens Passage. Woohoo!
So this is a camp spot for tonight.
Somewhere to dry off.
You look cold.
Yeah. All right, so past 2 days we have been schooled by a storm. It's been pretty rough. We've been hungry to the point where we were trying to spear fish out of a stream like wild people. We shot a duck, which we're not proud of, but we were really hungry, and the sea lion took it. Okay? Do you know how disappointing that is? Not to mention right now we're basically living in the most populated bear area ever. We are the outsiders here. Definitely. The wildlife has made that very clear that we are the outsiders.
It's amazing how much you adjust to living in the rain in Southeast Alaska. I personally crave the comfort of the rain these days. When it starts raining again after a bout of sun, it's like going home after a little vacation. Vacation was fun, but it always feels good to go home. I think about Dan a lot. I like to think that he's proud of me for going north. It would be so like him to laugh at my rain boots and sunglasses tan. I think he would grin and say that he knew I would do it. That's really good to think about.
After the Narrows spit us out into Clarence Strait, we knew we didn't have far to go before boarding the ferry and heading back to Juneau.
Sometimes it ends too soon, and I don't want to sleep.
It's hard to say if we were going home or leaving it behind. As the ferry pushed north, we could spot several of our campsites. These rocky beaches had become our refuge, the shores of a new life with different meaning. And I guess that's what you could call home.
We're in Wrangell, almost.
Almost.
We ate a bunch of Spam. So good. So good.